Okay, here we are, another episode with dear Deb and me.
And Moira.
Moira, deliciously motivating conversations with us. So Deb, today we're going to talk about this word, sorry. I don't know about you, but I hear people saying sorry so much. They say sorry when they start. Well, actually, this is a conversation you and I had a week or so ago, where I'll have a client comes in and they start telling me their story and they start crying, which great, because that means they are discharging it and they start saying sorry. Sorry for crying. Sorry for telling me their story. Sorry. I think,
and you're like, get it out, man. This is great. Get it out so we can deal with it. And they're like, sorry, I've wasted your time. Sorry.
Know. I'm like, I'm holding space for you, please. And because it happens so much, I will end up saying, please stop apologizing. Please stop apologizing.
It's like a soul-destroying word. Sorry. It's an underdog perception.
Yeah.
And and we tend to say it because we think the other person needs to hear it.
Yeah. Or we're saying we are lowly and how dare we take up space with this emotion or with this story or with this issue. How dare we take up space? Or burden that person.
Yeah, you do. You get those clients and they say, I'm sorry, I've gone 2 minutes over or something. I'm like, really? Like, if it was a problem, I would have called you on it. I'm clearly somebody who's going to call. We all would. Most people would. Well, I'm not going to say we all would. Most people would. But like, if I had a problem, you would know about it. But yeah, I'm sorry. I'm talking so much about this. I'm sorry. And it just reconfirms how shite you really are already.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly.
But I remember when I had a partner growing up, and he said to me, you don't say sorry. I'm like, well, what do I need to be sorry for? I was very firm, self-righteous. I was clearly the overdog. Poor boy. I was only 16. And he would go, you'd say things like, he goes, but you word it differently. And I'm like, how? He'd say, I'm sorry you feel that way. And I'd be like, well, I am sorry you feel that way. Like, I'm sorry you've taken it on board how I didn't intend to say it. It's not my stuff, it's yours. But at 16, I still remember, and I remember his mother coming to me saying, he has a problem with you because you don't say the word sorry. I'm like, well, I'm not sorry for that. So he sent to his mother to come and talk to me about it, bless him, because he clearly wasn't getting through to me. We did last a good 3.5 years or so. So,
well, having this kind of but having these kind of conversations kind of says to me why you would stay. That's pretty deep for at 16.
Yeah, but I didn't know that I said it like that until somebody actually says something to you. Sometimes you hear it and you don't hear it again, for a little bit. But the more you hear it, the more you're like, oh my gosh, I do that. Yeah. But when he did say that to me, I realized I don't say sorry, and it wasn't, and my parents say, you have to apologize. I'm like, why? They did that. Why do I need to apologize?
Yeah.
And it's a society thing of apologizing.
But then don't you think like it's not genuine anymore? If you're just saying sorry, what are you apologizing for?
No, and well, I mean, look, I'm just going to bring it out there. Tiger Woods, when he got up on stage and said he was sorry for doing all those, I truly don't believe he was sorry. Mm-hmm. And, this is controversial for some, but I don't think he was sorry. I think he had to say it for society to hear that. Whereas if he had gone and dealt with it on his own with her and admitted publicly, yes, I've done this, and this is the lessons I've learned from it, that would have had a far greater impact on his ability as a top sports person. But it would have upset a lot of females.
Of course.
Holy moly, because then it would have been, well, he's arrogant, he's a male, he doesn't, he hasn't thought about the other people. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was sorry he was caught.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Really, that you had to read between the lines. Sorry, I got found out.
But if you ever, exactly. If you ever look at that, go back and look at his body language, it was all scripted. And I felt for him that he couldn't stand in his own power and actually go, you know what, this has nothing to do with everybody else. This is right now, I've got to feed my soul and my partner's soul and my kid's soul and do whatever I can to make that, right, whether stay with them or not, what actually allows us all to tick before I even start confronting the world. When you're on that stage, they do say, look, if Trump actually got on Twitter, I'll say on Twitter, and actually said, I'm sorry for doing this, this, and this, could you imagine? I mean, just for a start, nobody would have believed. They would have said his Twitter's been hacked.
I was going to say it's been hacked. That's not him.
Yeah, exactly. But you don't hear certain people apologize. Yeah. And I don't, I don't know. I didn't realize I did that right from back then, but I am sorry that they've taken what I've said on board and they've reacted the way that I do feel for them. It's instead of saying sorry, I feel for you that you've taken that on board, because that's not my intention of saying this. If I say this, I don't want you to react. I'm saying this because I want you to hear what I have to say, and let's have a conversation. So I am sorry that they've reacted the way they have, because that's not was my intention,
right, or
anything. Sorry's a funny one. I get into it. It's very funny. I get into a lift or an elevator, and someone bumps into you when they come into the lift, and they go, "Oh, sorry," and I go, "Well, it depends how cute they are." Sometimes I'll be, because I've got a little quirk in me, I'll say, "Oh no, thank you for bumping into me. That was the best offer I've had all year," which makes it a little bit uncomfortable for some. Well, clearly, I'm not going to say that
fun too.
Yeah, but it breaks that you don't have to say sorry to me. Or people bump you in the street and they go, sorry. And I'm like, oh, no, that's great. Thank you. Thank you for keeping me, present. Because there's a reason things go on. So you don't have to say. But our impact is straight away to say sorry. Oh, sorry, I've cried on you. Sorry, I've gone over our session. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I've talked too much. Sorry, but you're not helping the other person.
You're not helping the other person, but and it's an interesting point, because sorry, like I said, sorry to me when people are saying it to me, because I'm like you. If somebody says that something that I said or did affected them in a certain way, I'm going to say, I'm sorry it hit you that way, or I'm sorry that it landed that way. I'm sorry
that's not my intention.
That's not what I meant. And then hopefully get the opportunity to explain or to go deeper into what it is I really meant, right? But the other thing too is I think sorry is like, I might say, excuse me. If I bump into somebody, I'm not going to say sorry, because I didn't do anything wrong per se.
Yeah.
But I do need to acknowledge that I encroached on somebody else's space.
Oh, definitely. You wouldn't just bump into someone and just give them the evil stare. Oh, well, maybe you would. Mumble a few words under your thing, but I thank them, because when somebody bumps into you, it actually gets you present and realizes you are on your phone. You're not appreciating what's around you. You're not looking up, because if you're really looking up and you're present, no one's going to bump into you, because you can see them. Mm-hmm. So it's actually just grounds you to you're not being present right here, right now. Mm-hmm. And so I will thank them for that, because if I am on my phone, I'm going, you know what? You're missing the blessings of people around you. You're missing certain things. So get yourself present.
Yeah. And so that is a thank you moment.
Yeah. And I think that that thank you moment is about acknowledging too that it's happened. Yes. I mean, clearly you're not going to say to an older, well, not an older person, some old man or woman, oh, thank you, that's the best offer I've had all year.
No, you do have to choose your audience.
Absolutely. But, oh, thank you for allowing me to have this conversation. Thank you for allowing me to look up. Just quick little things that you can say to someone that they can go, that's weird. But you've planted that seed to stop them from thinking they're sorry again. I was sorry that, he had to go to his mum like that. I felt for him, but it wasn't my intention. So I wouldn't have said, I'm sorry you had to go to your mum. I would say, gosh, I'm grateful you've gone to your mum, because it's opened up a completely different conversation we've had.
Right.
So thankful grateful, I'm sorry, instead of saying sorry, I'm grateful this has opened up our whole conversation. I'm sorry, instead of saying I'm sorry, you had that car accident. Oh, wow, look, you've been moaning about that damn car for so long. This could be an opportunity for you. Let's have a look at the other side of it. Instead of saying I'm sorry you had an accident, let's look at the gratitude that's come out of that.
That's a really good point. And that's something that I've had client conversations with before, that sometimes we have to be careful of when we have those kind of conversations, because if you do it when somebody's still really raw and say, well, what was the gift? Or what was because to be honest with you, I personally believe that there's gift in absolutely everything that we go through.
Absolutely. 101% on that one. Absolutely. But you've got to be prepared to look for it.
Number one, you have to be prepared to look for it. But number two, sometimes you need to allow yourself the journey through the darkness and hold on to the idea that there is a gift in here. I can't see it right now. It doesn't mean it's not there. Do you know what I mean? It's like, so I think of experiences I've gone through. If somebody said to me during my abusive relationship that, there's a gift in here, I would have just thought that they were weird.
You would have come out all guns a-blazing.
What the hell are you talking about? Right.
Yeah, and I agree. It's actually, I don't believe you can cut your emotions off completely.
No.
So if you can sit and feel it and go, oh my gosh, this is absolute crap. I cut, like a car accident. Let's just go there. Yeah. This is absolute crap. Da 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 da. Okay, now I need to start. I've had 24 hours, 48 hours. I've sat on this. It's screwed my mind. I'm not eating. I'm getting grumpy with the family. I'm not functioning. My work is, dropped in 24 hours or 48 hours. It's time to snap out of it.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have a time frame of how much you want to snap out of it, whether it takes you 6 months, a year, 24 hours or whatever. But I do believe you have to sit and feel that.
Absolutely.
So that you can actually see the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you just go, okay, well, right, I've just had this accident, I'm just going to sit here and do blessings right now, gratitude right now. You can do that, but you're only patching right now. You want to see, feel, and acknowledge what's happened. Mm-hmm. Look at the bigger picture before you unpack. But yes, sorry is such a society word.
It really is. But just to finish up on your thought,
ingenuine.
It is ingenuine. I would just wanted to pick up on your concept there about you could slap on of here blessings and this is here's my affirmations and I'm grateful. We run the risk of buying into somebody else's way of dealing with that, as opposed to allowing ourselves to be uncensored, unfiltered, true to the emotion that we need to feel, and then come right through to it, right?
Absolutely. And I think, look, I'm just going to say absolutely. You've got to see, feel, and acknowledge it in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see it, feel it, and acknowledge it in yourself before you can deal with it. And when you're ready, deal with it.
Yeah. And so therefore, you don't need anybody to feel sorry for you. You don't need to sit and feel sorry for yourself. It's just about saying, this is where I am in this point. And like I said too, is acknowledging, but then also, and this is something that I've said to myself a number of times, is I wouldn't be in this situation if I didn't have the capacity to come through it. And sometimes that's all we can hang on to as we're going through this. I got to sit here with this horrible loss or this feeling of sadness or this pain or whatever it is that we're going through. But once I do that, the gift will show up.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's quite interesting. I go to those moments when I've felt that pain, but when you do something, not everybody's an a-hole. I mean, we have moments of being an a-hole, moments of being amazing, mm-hmm. But I'm not going to, when you say something to somebody, you're not saying it to cut them down and cut them, whatever. You're actually saying because you genuinely think this is going to help them.
Yeah.
So, you may raise your voice to be very firm.
Yeah.
Or you may soften your voice, but and how they react is their stuff, not yours. And so if I go, oh, I'm sorry I said that, I'm not sorry I said it because it's out. I can't take back what I've said. But I do feel for them that they've taken it that way. So, it's, I'm sorry you feel that way. It's a shame you took it that way because that was honestly not my intention.
Yeah.
And that's an acknowledging of that I wanted to get my message across, that they could hear, but not react the way they expected, that I expected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sorry's just such a, children growing up, they take it they're 2 years old and they hit someone, now say sorry. And the kid's like, I don't say sorry, he hit me first.
Yeah.
Well, you say sorry, then he'll say sorry. Why do I have to say it first?
Yeah.
But society says we have to say sorry. Society says, look at the people who have done, like the Tiger Woods, look at all them, who've had to come forward to politicians, anybody in the public eye who've said, I'm sorry, I've done that. It's done. Why do you need to acknowledge that you've done it? Look, like, I'm sorry everybody reacted the way I did. I don't know. I guess there's a time and a place to say sorry. I personally don't say it, which annoys the heck out of some of my friends and family. I'll just sit and I'll acknowledge and I'll go, okay, how's it benefiting them? How's it benefiting me? Do I really need to say sorry? Because it's their stuff. If they react, it's their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, going to, just the whole thought of even Trump going on there and saying, I'm sorry, this whole political career has been not for me. You'd instantly think he's been hacked. He has been hacked. He would have to be hacked.
He'd have to be hacked.
Yeah. But when they say it, go think of a moment when you've seen someone say, Tiger Woods is one that I just constantly replay in my mind. Whoever his PR team said, society says you need to say sorry. Well, actually, he needs to. It would be wise for him to, he should. It would be wise for him to actually look at his own stuff and deal with his own internal public stuff, and the public just has to frickin' wait. Who are we?
Absolutely.
The guy. Let him deal with his stuff with his partner and children until he's ready.
It's none of our business. And yeah, there is so much about that. It's about the persona and how you're viewed, and it's like, no, we're all in this game of life together, and if you got to go and retreat and do your own inner work, then you need to do that.
Yeah, it's that acknowledging.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah, I can't even. I'm trying to think of the last time I actually said sorry. If I said that if I asked my daughter, she'd go, you just don't say sorry. You turn the words around. My family. But I do remember my partner, bless him, he got his mum to come and talk to me, purely because I didn't say sorry for certain things. I was like, oh, and still I didn't change. I don't remember changing because I was sorry that he reacted the way, or he took it on board what I said, or, when was the last time you said sorry, Moira?
Well, I probably do say it a fair bit, but not just saying I'm sorry. Like I said, if I bump into somebody, I'm going to say excuse me.
Yeah.
But if I'm saying I'm sorry, it would be more in line with what you were saying. As I'm sorry you took it that way. I'm sorry you felt that when you listened to what I had to say.
Yeah.
Right. Rather than, and it's actually funny because my mom does that a lot. She'll say, I'm sorry a lot. And it leaves you wondering, like, yeah, I'm sorry for what? That, because that's the piece that I when I'm talking about clients that will say, I'm sorry. It's like, well, what are you apologizing for? Because I'm sitting here listening to you. You're not putting me out.
Is it a society thing? Is it like, who we talked about morals and ethics? Is it a thing that we have, I talked about, sitting at the dinner table, eating with your mouth shut and not talking. That's a society thing that I was brought up with, so sorry is that, I don't even know I don't know if mums ever said sorry that I can think of. It's, but I look at people who say sorry and I just go, oh, you poor thing. You don't have to say sorry. Like, why are you destroying yourself saying that?
Yeah.
You don't, what, you don't have to, like, she comes to you and she cries for 5 minutes and then, sorry, I've wasted 5 minutes of your time. No, this is great. Get it out. Get your tears.
Progress. Absolutely.
Yeah, this means you're now ready. Let's get that shite out and then we can deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sorry I've wasted 5 minutes of your time. Well, it's the best 5 minutes we've had because we're going to, move forward and we're going to be able to deal with this, and this.
Mm-hmm.
It is quite an interesting word, sorry.
It really is, but it's back to what I had said at the beginning of our conversation here, is that there's a vibe to me about when somebody's saying sorry, is that it's not even that they're wasting my time, it's that they're weak. They're splashing their emotions all over. They should have that stiff upper lip and not let things bother them or not be upset. So there's an inner judge piece.
Well, that's that underdog, overdog too.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, very much so. You've got it all together, and so therefore I should be like you and not be seen to have these emotional or mental or physical or spiritual or whatever it is issues going. And so therefore I'm an underdog. I'm less than. And
and we make people say sorry to make ourselves feel better, I think, is the other thing. I'm just thinking of when someone said, you need to say sorry for upsetting, little Johnny took the toy off, whoever.
Mm-hmm.
You need to say sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't understand why they have to say sorry. Now, do they have to say sorry? Or they can go up and go, oh, Johnny, I didn't mean to upset you, which is another way of saying sorry, but I didn't mean to upset you, but let's play with the toy together. You're not going to say, little Johnny, I didn't mean to upset you. You're a little shit and I didn't actually want to give you that toy anyway. But
I like what you said there, because you see, there would be space for us to need to say sorry if we got up one morning and thought, okay, so what can I say that's going to really upset that person?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, I don't think
people do that. But I'm saying if they did, then they saw the person that they verbally attacked or whatever crying, then there's a place to say I'm sorry, because you
can say, instead of saying the word I'm sorry, I don't know, I have an emotional charge, and I didn't mean to upset you. I thought if I said this, it actually might snap you out of where I was at. Which is the justification or whatever, or an elaboration or whatever, but you're not saying sorry, you're actually unpacking, but you are saying sorry.
You are saying sorry, but you're saying sorry from a responsible place,
from a heart place. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because that, I like what you just described, is that it's a shame that felt so confrontational to you, because this is where I was coming from with it, or this was my intent.
And that's not minimizing them, and it's not, but it's also empowering them by acknowledging their emotion of what it's happened, and it humbles you, because if you say something to somebody and then they cry and burst into tears or they get upset with it, it's the whole thing. I generally don't believe we're saying it to be an a-hole. No. I think we're actually just saying it because we just think it's the right thing to say. They react, and then you go, whoa, okay, maybe I was a little bit loud, maybe I was a little bit harsh, maybe I could have said it differently. Oh gosh, I didn't mean to upset you, which is another way of saying I'm sorry, but without saying I'm sorry.
Exactly. Because sometimes, and I don't know about you, but sometimes we can come at something from our own preconceived idea. Somebody needs to hear, oh, you need to hear, and you don't know how you're going to trigger somebody or what you might upset with them.
No, well, you're right, and I think going back to bringing up children in preschool, we teach them sorry because it's we teach them sorry, but there's different ways of going around sorry. We also actually, good and bad is actually another great podcast we could do. Yeah, because that's especially to children. Oh, good boy. Yeah. Oh, bad boy. Instantly you've grained. That's a whole new session on its own. Good and bad. But good and bad when you bring children up, and sorry, like these are things, but you can word them differently. Like oh, so what do you say when someone bumps into you on the street? Me, I say, excuse me. Oh, yeah, excuse me. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I tend to say thank you. I go, oh, thank you. Thank
cute.
you for keeping it real. Or yes, well, yeah. Yeah, excuse me is a lovely one. That's a gracious woman's answer. I'd struggle with that. You're a gracious woman.
I'm the gracious woman.
Yeah. Whereas, I would say thank you. Yeah. Thanks for keeping me humble, or thanks for But it depends who you're with.
I like it.
Really. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's definitely one that that we as parents hear and we want to hear. But I do go back to that Tiger Woods, and I think if his PR had done it differently, I mean, he's definitely back in the I was going to say back in the box. He's definitely doing his own thing. Whoops, he's definitely doing his own thing now, and he's found his groove. But I do think if he had worded it differently, instead of what society needed to hear, he resolved what he had with her, and learned his lessons, because that's what it's all about. She obviously had some amazing lessons she had to learn for that.
Yeah.
And and she may have been, quote, sorry for what role she played in it. I don't know. She never came forward. I didn't see much from her. But I mean, I think that would have been different if he had acknowledged it, and instead of saying, I'm sorry to everybody for doing this. Yeah, this is him. This is him dealing with it with his wife. He doesn't have to say sorry to the world, for God's sake.
Like, what, you never did anything to us.
No, didn't. Well, no, I wasn't one of them. Neither was you. But yeah, no, I just think, I look at those people who say sorry and I go, gosh, if you had reframed that differently, you could have had a different outcome.
Yeah. Yeah. I really feel like it's about taking ownership, being responsible for who you show up as. And so I like the examples that you've been giving about it's not my intent to upset anyone. But if I do inadvertently, or something gets misrepresented, or I trigger somebody, then I am going to have compassion and want to hold space for that person to feel better.
Yeah.
Whether I say sorry or not, I'm coming at it from a space of responsibility. Words came out of my mouth and they created this good reaction or bad reaction. I need to communicate through it. But to me, and this is why we were talking about this today, is that it's a wee bit of a cop-out to just say, I'm sorry.
It's ingenuine. Yeah. I don't believe half the people who say they're sorry. Like, what are you sorry for? And you say, and I get like this, like I'm talking now, what are you sorry for? And they're like, oh, I'm sorry I got caught out.
Exactly.
They're not going to say, I'm sorry I got caught out. They're going to say, I'm sorry because it's, like
it's the thing we're supposed to say.
Absolutely. And then that's going to go down like a,
lead balloon.
Well, I was going to say FART in a lead balloon. And I'm like, hang on, I don't know if they say that over there in the world. But that will go down like a lead, exactly. Yeah. And it's what we say things because we think people need to hear it.
Yes.
But in reality, if we speak from the heart, they will hear what they need to hear anyway. And we don't have to project what we're saying. They will just hear it if we speak from the heart.
Exactly. And that's what this is all about. I read a blog post earlier today all about the purpose of our lives is to find our truth and then speak it. It's to speak it. In fact, hey.
And be fearful of that judgment. What have you got there?
Well, I don't know if you have yogi teas over there, but they yogi teas have these wonderful little inscriptions on tea bags sometimes, and so I kept one.
What type of tea did you say?
The brand name is Yogi. Yogi teas.
I've never heard of it. But my daughter probably would because she drinks tea. I don't drink tea.
I see. So this is herbal. This would have been from my favorite licorice tea, but I keep them. So I want to read it out because this actually makes sense to what.
And you had this tea this morning, did you? Today?
Oh, actually, I found it yesterday because I cleaned my office, so it's been a while. So it says the purpose of life is to know yourself and love yourself and trust yourself and be yourself. So by saying sorry, we ain't really doing any of those.
No, I would, when we podcast this, I'd like that quote up very clearly, because I think that's a beautiful quote. That's exactly it, because you're not in alignment. You're saying it because you think other people need to hear it.
Yeah.
Which will screw your internals up.
Exactly.
Your mind and your body, when you say, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. You know, people who have affairs and, you know, jump outside the relationship, they are condemned. I'm sorry I did that. I'm sorry I did that. They're just reconfirming what they've done. Look, deal with it and move on. You know, you don't have to put them in the dog box for the next 3 years. You know, if you don't trust them again, then let them go. Yeah. Don't do that to them, yourself, all your friends and family, you know, everyone around. Just don't do it. Yeah. You know, but we do. Society says we have to say sorry, but it's ingenuine. Like, I just go back to that Trump. If I ever saw Trump, and it would be on Twitter, say I'm sorry, even if he put his hand on his heart, you know, and said I'm sorry for everything I've done, people would still go, nah, don't believe him. He's just saying that because he's got a new PR person.
Yeah, his therapist told him he had to do that.
Absolutely, to clear all his emotional guilt, and now he's going to sleep at night. Well, that's not going to work. I think Trump sleeps very well at night, actually. Sure he does. I think exactly what you've written on that quote, you know. Yeah. He's definitely a leader in his own mind.
Yep.
Well, he's the leader of the USA, but I mean, he's definitely one. But it is, we say sorry because we think that's what people need to hear.
I know, and that is, and that's why I wanted to read that quote out, is because how do we derail ourselves like that? If we keep going and doing things based upon what we think other people think we should be doing, we've lost. We totally lost the, wait a minute, let's just come into center. What is your heart saying?
So how do you get that across to your loved ones? If you've you know, if you've dipped yourself outside the relationship, if you've you know, if you're in human resources and you're letting somebody go, you know, and you're firing them, or you're letting them go for redundancy or something, or, you know, someone has lost a child or something, you know, how do you say I'm sorry from your heart without being an underdog, without demoralizing them, you know, in any way? How do you say that when you're letting somebody go, or you've been found out in the relationship, or even if you haven't been found out and you want to confess your guilt, you know, how do you say sorry without saying sorry?
You tell the truth. You say what's going on. So
this is not my intention,
or I'm sad that you're in this situation, or what can I do to help lighten this load? What do you need? And, you know, it's because when I often see this about the, I will always show up and ask people, what can I do? Even if it's just a kind word or a hug, or you want me to call you?
Yeah.
But because my intent is to hold space and be of service everywhere I can be.
Yeah. And I think that's that same thing again. We go back to acknowledging.
Exactly.
Acknowledging what it does to our internals, or our emotion, or our soul, or to us, but also the other person. Because I generally don't believe people are going to wake up and go, right, today I'm going to have the biggest argument with my mother just because she peeved me off when I was 6, and I remember that. Today, that's what I'm going to do. I think, well, I think some people will think that, but generally in their heart, they don't want to do that. But that's that a-hole that comes out occasionally when they've had no sleep, and, you know, other toxic things come into play.
But, you know, those are the emotions that we need to just be authentic and own. Yes, I felt that, but I'm not going to follow through on it.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's not to stuff it back down and go, oh my gosh, I'm a bad person. Yeah, I'm a bad person because that came up. It's like, no.
No, we've all thought about doing certain things to people.
And that's why I'm saying you just, you don't act on it, but you need to be honest with yourself. So if you need to write out the thoughts and then burn the piece of paper, I get a lot of my clients to do that. Write it all out, totally uncensored, and then burn the piece of paper.
Now, if you're going to do that in an email, make sure you do not put their email address at the top if you decide to do something. If you're texting, put it in a text. If you feel you have to put it into a text and not the notes on your phone, do it, but don't put it against their name. Put your own number at the top or need be or whatever.
Good advice.
But don't.
Advice.
Yeah. Because, I think we've all been caught out on sending a message to somebody and it's gone to the wrong person. Mm-hmm. And if it's, you wouldn't believe what they did and they said, and then you send it to that person, you're like, oh, no. Like my daughter says constantly, my mum sends messages about her that she's sending me to Sophie, my daughter, and she's like, Nana always does this. I'm like, she can't always do it. She's like, yeah, she does. She sends me messages that are supposed to go to you about me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what one did she send? But we do it. I'm sure we've all done it at least once. But sorry is a and also that's probably something that my mum would do. Mum would go, sorry, I've sent that to you.
Right.
Yeah. She'd probably say sorry a lot more to my daughter than she ever has with me growing up. That was my perception. She's definitely softened. But no, sorry is a word, because I generally, hand on my heart, do not believe we want to cut people off and be really horrid to them.
Absolutely agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. And to then, I think it's also really important to not use sorry as a shortcut to saying, I'm only doing this because I think that's what's expected from me.
Yeah, see, that's another thing, going back to dipping outside the relationship. I'm sorry I met that woman, and I'm sorry, and it'll never happen again. Because that's the other thing, never. Why are we saying never? How do you know? You don't know it's never going to happen again. At this moment, right here, right now, at this time, it's never going to happen again. But 3 weeks down the track, something might catch your eye, shiny object. It's a shiny object. And you don't know that it's never going to happen again. And then you go into another state of sorry and another spiral, even far greater. Yeah, the word never is actually, it's never going to happen again. Yeah, don't ever say that.
Well, as a hypnotherapist, we don't use never. Because I say to you, never think of a pink elephant, you just did.
Oh, I did. I just thought of actually I actually went straight to a joke about how many elephants can you get into a mini. So yeah, never. Yeah. Oh no! Now
that's the whole point. That's the whole point of your subconscious mind doesn't hear the nevers, the no's, the don'ts. Doesn't hear any of them.
Yeah. Well, never. Oh my God,
never is a long time.
Never. Oh no, never. No, never do that. I never do. And I'm sorry I do that, and I never do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always, there was a drinking game that I grew up with. I have never. And
oh, I know that game.
Yeah, I think it was a drinking game. I don't know. We created it as a drinking game, but for me, it actually got to the point where I'd just say, I have always. Like I have never, danced on a table, and people would go, oh, like, well, I could never say that because I have, but it got to the point, I have always, because I'm like, I do a lot of things always, at least once, at least jumped out of a plane. There you go, those sort of things. But it's interesting. Yeah, never. Yeah, now I've got the damn pink elephant in my mind, Moira.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, that's better than have a pink elephant
sorry.
Than Donald Trump. Yeah. Sorry. BS, you're sorry. You are not sorry. Now I'm going to think of pink elephant jokes all day long.
I'm not really. That was not my intention.
Yes, it bloody was.
So, dear listeners, we really hope that this has been helpful, and check in. Deborah said this on one of our other conversations, that now that we've brought this into your awareness, watch how many times you say sorry, and then check in. What are you sorry for? Or are you just saying sorry because you think society tells you need to?
Yeah, that's a big one.
It is, isn't it? And
just stop and hear it. Yeah, when you hear it, stop and go, oh, Is that me? Is it them? Where did it come from?
Yeah. Yes. So we look forward to your comments, and similar to what we said to you when we were talking about should. What would you say instead of saying sorry? Like we were talking about when somebody bumps into me or I bump into somebody, I say, excuse me, because I am saying, excuse me. I didn't mean to step on your toe. But I'm not sorry because I didn't do something
that's out of,
yeah.
And I say thank you. Yeah.
She says, Deb says thank you. I think that's cute.
With a cheeky grin, usually. Of course, I pick and choose who I'm going to say that to.
Of course.
But yeah, thank you. Thank you is quite often my go-to.
Mm-hmm. No,
thank you.
Like that.
Thank you for saying that to me, and thank you for acknowledging that, and thank you. But it's Tiger Woods.
It's a good example. I really like that you brought that up because it's a perfect example of what are you really sorry for?
Yeah, but it was obvious. I thought it was obvious.
Mm-hmm. No, I completely agree with you.
But he had to say sorry for society in his mind because there would have been woman haters and men and everything like that. He lost a lot of credibility, but also gained a lot of credibility. He lost credibility from me for saying sorry. Mm-hmm. Because I just thought this will be interesting how he's going to play this one out to the media.
Yeah, for sure.
But affairs, dabbling outside the relationship are very touchy already. And everyone has an opinion. And everyone has a story of something that's happened to them in their lives or watched people.
Yes.
Very raw.
Well, yeah, especially high profile people for sure. And then that brings about judgments of lots of different kinds.
Absolutely. Oh, well, thank you, Moira. Thank you, listeners, because
listeners,
we're sorry that we've taken all your time up. No, we're not. Not at all.
We're not really.
At all.
Nope.
No. I'm never going to go over time again. No.
Thank you for listening, and this has been great fun. We're going to turn around this sorry escapade.
Yeah, let us know what you say and how you say it, and in what context do you say it in? Yeah. Perfect.
Thanks for listening. Much love, and we'll be talking again soon.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.